Hi, good evening. This is Scott at Scott Trades on Twitter with your strategy session. Hey, it is Tuesday, January the 11th, 2022. I hope you're doing well. Let's get into things. Start things off here with the SPY. SPY with a nice strong reversal yesterday. Things were not looking great yesterday. Dan and I were doing our live session on Zoom, and a lot of charts looked like they were just going to continue lower. But we ended up getting a pretty good rebound throughout the day and closed strong on really good volume. And so that's exactly what I had been mentioning that I was looking for in the live webinar that we're doing with myself and Dan. You know, I had mentioned this day here on December the 20th, and I said, you know, I'm kind of looking for a close like that. We ended up getting better than that because not only did we close near the highs, we kept going and saw a nice follow through here today. Again, coming on decent volume. Now, this could just be a little bit of an oversold bounce rebound kind of thing because we are running into a lot of supply and kind of a congestion zone. So I don't know, that we have the power to just break through on new highs. We definitely could, but we don't know, right? So we just need to trade the chart that's in front of us and be open to any direction. And so what I want to see is this kind of downward sloping trend line hold. And if we break below this low here at around 456.78, then I would definitely be more protective. I mean, we have to expect that we're probably going to pull back at some point and set a daily higher low, but we don't know if that's going to be a higher low up here or a higher low here. And so in my opinion, as long as we can hold above that low, then I think we're good, at least for, long bias trades. But we'll have to see how the market reacts as we come into a clear congestion zone. Now, macroeconomically, the Jerome Powell was talking on the Hill today with lawmakers about inflation. And from what I understand, he basically said, look, inflation is expected to drop off. We're going to have some high inflation numbers come out. And he kind of just said, basically ignore that because after that, that's when we expect it to drop. And the Fed seemed, from what I read briefly, they seem that they're just going to be accommodating either way, and that they weren't going to really do anything until March. And so I think that the market liked that. I mean, we can see from the reaction today that they're buying stocks. But again, we don't know if this is just for an oversold bounce. We were severely oversold down here. I don't have the Bollinger Bands on here, but, imagine the price was outside the Bollinger Bands. That doesn't happen too often on the S&P 500. So, getting a nice rebound on good volume. Not going to complain about that. I do have a trade on SSO that's going on right now. I actually don't know if I didn't think I added at all today. I just kind of held within. Typically if we are under all the major moving averages, so like we're still below the 8-day here. I guess, had we closed above the 8-day, I would be adding with a little more confidence. But I just thought, I was happy with my position size and know that, if this is going to keep going, I'm going to have lots of time to size in. I don't need to, get so big and then, maybe we get a lower open tomorrow and then I'm under my price or whatever. And one thing that I had mentioned to someone in the forum today was kind of waiting half an hour. So, today, for example, this is the opening 30 minutes of the day. We ended up, having a slightly kind of flat open, and then we sold off for basically the first half hour. And when the market is choppy, I like to wait that half hour, sometimes even an hour before doing anything. And that's just because, with my style of trading, I want to try and make as little amount of decisions as possible. I want to just, I want to give the stock a chance to work, or it's got to prove to me that it's not going to work. And so, usually you can tell that within the first half hour or so. And so once we establish this low here, I just kind of put an alert on my SPY chart, just slightly below that low. and just to bring it to my attention to say, oh, well, something. I'm not really going to set the alert, but that's what I was doing today, just reenacting it. If this breaks below here, then okay, well then, you know what? Maybe we're not continuing higher, and I need to react and end up selling that position. But we ended up firming up nicely and solidified throughout the day. And again, look at the closing volume here. Nice, strong volume into the close. So, I could have added into the close. I was more interested in Lucid today, and we'll look at Lucid here shortly. But, I just kind of held my SSO. I typically don't put a large portion of my account in this because, I want to outperform with stocks, and I just kind of want exposure in certain accounts via SSO, to the S&P 500. So anyways, yeah, we'll see how this trades tomorrow. I would like to see it, close above that 8-day exponential period moving average and just kind of see what happens as we get close to the highs. If we get rejected at the highs again, maybe some bad numbers come out and the market doesn't like it, then, I think you got to be a little looser on your positions in terms of how strongly you're holding on to them. So just kind of, maintain that flexibility while we're kind of in this chop. And I kind of have a feeling from the people who I listen to and speak to, it's just going to be one of those years. It should be, a pretty choppy year as the market kind of figures out, can the market handle higher interest rates? Is the economy really as strong as some are saying? And, Jamie Dimon was on CNBC yesterday talking about the strength in the economy and that consumers are spending 25% more than they did before the pandemic started, and that their savings have built up and their debt is less. And so this could be, if that narrative takes hold, this could be the catalyst, that at least maintains this uptrend. So that's kind of, my mindset. But again, open-minded, flexible, want to see what price does into tomorrow and beyond. QQQ, still under the major moving averages here. So we're still under the 50-day, the 21-day, and the 8-day exponential. So we do, technically need a daily higher low here. This gave back a lot more, but it, keep in mind, it had also been performing very well over the year. So, from this point last year to now is what I'm talking about. So, we'll see. We did see once they started talking about interest rates, we saw, a pretty quick exodus out of some of those high-flying tech leaders. And so, you are getting some decent moves in some of these leaders. We'll look at a bunch of them tonight. But, that doesn't mean that the QQQ is going to be fixed overnight. And so, from a trade perspective, I'm not doing anything with the Qs, but I am trading. I do have some Tesla. And I think I picked up a little Facebook. So anyways, we'll go over that here again today. But still under the major moving averages. So we're still technically in the chop zone, in my opinion. And, this did make a lower low. So that's notable. We need to set a daily higher low and then a daily higher high and really kind of start to change this trend. But, nice volume on the rebound. Can't deny that. Semiconductors, same kind of thing. So we just kind of made a, slight break of, I guess almost, slight break of that level. It's like they, anyone who had a stop here, they just wanted to say, look what we can do. And then, run it back up. So that's, kind of what ended up happening. So it is what it is. Back close to the 50-day moving average. Nice rebound here. Some semiconductors look better than others, so it really is kind of a stock picker's market in that respect. But worth keeping an eye on because, again, that volume is hard to deny. And, when Dan was on doing the live webinar with us on Monday, that's kind of what he was talking about. He was looking for that strong conviction volume, not looking for a low volume rebound. And so, yeah, well, we kind of like how this is looking, and we'll look at some individual semiconductors here in a minute. Financials still looking good. I know Dan's big bullish on some of these financial stocks, and why wouldn't you be? Because they are clearly breaking out here on a daily chart and on a weekly chart. Even had a nice, a little bit of a back test of this breakout here, and still going strong. So keep an eye on some of the financial stocks. I think we'll look at a few here again tonight. Industrials still holding up. a little choppy. I don't really love this downside reversal here where it kind of broke to a new high. Sellers came in, pushed it down, and then, down around the 50-day. So it is, generally choppy, but let's call it as it is. It's above all the major moving averages. So you want to be open-minded to some of the industrial stocks as well. Metals and mining, XME, nice strong move here today. Again, choppy. Don't like that candle. I hate candles like that because that's typically a trend reversal type candle. But again, nice strong day today. So I will look at some metals and mining stocks. And if I zoom out here, you know what? If this really starts to break out, I mean, look at that long base. Look at that nice long base. When you're zoomed in, you can be chopped to pieces on this. But if you zoom out, I mean, metals and mining have been going sideways really for 8 months. And so if this breaks out, then that would be notable. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on. I think it's ideally it's something you want to get closer to the major moving averages, but watch above that 47.70 level because I think that's where the breakout really occurs. It's really got to get above, stay above, and do it on volume. XLE continuing to work here. Nice, strong move near the highs. We'll look at a couple oil and gas stocks here as well tonight. Okay, let's talk about crypto. I had some questions about crypto reversals in the forum today. And interestingly enough, if you look at the move in tech stocks, it's very similar to the move that we're getting in some of these cryptos as well. I won't do an overlay, but you kind of get the idea. This is bouncing, tech is bouncing, and interestingly enough, it's almost like risk is back on. Okay, I'm going to put those high risk assets back on then, or those high beta stocks. Oh, I'm going to buy those back. And so that is interesting how the market is looking at crypto as, kind of a high beta kind of trade. So, I think someone asked about ETHE today. And I said, yeah, this looks buyable, but you really kind of need a wide stop if you're going to trade this. I typically don't trade the grayscale stuff. I just don't like how they trade. And so I prefer to own the actual asset, whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, Algorand, whatever it is. But you can trade these in your stock account and they're fine. So looking for, continuation of this reversal, probably going to get a little pushback right under that 200-day moving average here on ETH. And GBTC, I mean, it would be nice if we got to move to that 200-day. So, just watch these moving averages because when we are under the major moving averages like this, I mean, those are ceilings. Think about these moving averages as levels that it's got to break through because, it takes a lot to break them down. And you can tell that by the volume here. So look at the volume here on these breakdowns. So this is a real breakdown of this asset on high volume. And so it's going to take high volume as well to the upside to break through those and soak up anyone who, was catching this on the way down and maybe has lost a little of their conviction. So that's how I like to think about moving averages when price is underneath. Hope that makes sense. Okay, Lucid. Talked about this one in the forum today. I was watching Tesla, and then I saw this one, kind of creep above that 50-day moving average. Posted a chart about this in the forum, and we have some great traders in the forum who have been on this as well. Woodman mentioned that he was accumulating this kind of under the 50-day moving average, and so we got above, held above, and closed pretty strong. I did see we're slightly down after hours, but nothing really, it's after hours, so I don't really care that much. The open tomorrow, in my opinion, is much more important, but really good volume on that breakout. I started a position then, and then I actually got shaken out of some intraday because I had bought coming out of this downward sloping trend line. So I bought some here out of that downward sloping trend line, or maybe it was this one here. Maybe it was this. Yeah, actually it was this one. And then we broke higher, and then we gave it all back. And so, I ended up selling my ad kind of down here when it broke below because, I saw kind of Tesla rolling over a bit. I saw Bitcoin rolling over a bit, and I just thought, I just added some up here, and now I'm like, almost 2% lower, I'll just sell those and wait for the close. And that was my plan originally, was to wait for the close, but this thing was just, trading so beautifully, tight along the ADMA, downward sloping trend line, breakthrough, okay volume, and then a follow through. And I thought, oh man, this is really going to go. And so it ended up, kind of doing that a few times throughout the day. So definitely, a stock that went up a lot and saw some selling, but closed pretty strong. I mean, no complaints here. Really strong volume into the close. I mean, that's massive. This is a 10-minute chart. Almost 3 million shares bought in 10 minutes. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll buy a little more. And so ended up, I'm pretty good. I think I have a 2/3 position on this stock now, and we'll see how it trades. I really now just want to watch it push away from my price and build that cushion. And when the market is choppy, a cushion, my friend, is what you want. You want that cushion because a cushion gives you so much flexibility in your trade. Oh, I can, sell a little. Oh, hey, maybe I'll buy a little more. And when when price pushes away from your price, I just like having that flexibility, especially when the market is a little sketchy and has been sketchy for a while. I really want to get in that comfort zone with my trade. And so, I'm keen really to just see how this trades tomorrow. I do know that this does have some short interest. So if it really starts to go, then, maybe I'll buy a little more. But again, want to stay flexible and see how things go tomorrow. Tesla, kind of rebounding, still under the major moving averages, running into a little bit of supply. You can see what I talked about. When prices under the major moving averages, those moving averages can act as a ceiling. And so we're seeing that here with Tesla. I have an alert right around that 1086 level for potentially, a new entry or to add to a position here on Tesla. I did buy some Tesla here on this day, just a small bit, didn't do anything with it today, and now I want to see further confirmation to the upside. Okay, Amazon, really strong hammer here yesterday on Amazon, but still in, kind of a channel. And if I zoom out here, again, look at Amazon. I mean, this is a great stock for day trading, but for a long-term hold, you've been going sideways for a year and a half. So this makes it hard, in my opinion, to do anything other than short-term trades on Amazon, except for maybe a long-term, hey, I'm going to hold it forever kind of trade. But, still in the channel here, needs to change that trend. Facebook, I did grab a little Facebook today, just kind of at the close, just kind of to keep an eye on it. I've been talking about Facebook for a while. I should have bought it yesterday as it did reverse nicely, but I was unsure about the market. And then, I should have bought it again today, but just got busy doing other things, looking at other sectors. And so, this is right now kind of at that downward sloping trend line that I had mentioned previous in my other videos. Now we just need to see what happens next. And so I think that this could be something worth watching for a strong move. We get a strong move out of this downward sloping trend line on volume and a strong close, then I think maybe we could get a little bit of an earnings run on Facebook. But again, this one is it's not been a rewarding swing trade because it hasn't lasted. You'll take it for a day, and then the next thing you know, you're out the next day. So, I'm really looking for, and this frankly isn't the market for it. I'm looking for those trades that can last a couple of days, but I want to see that strength really come in here and hold above that moving average and hold above this downward sloping trend line and do it on volume. Okay, mentioned financials. Goldman Sachs actually looks pretty good here. It's close to the 50-day moving average. Decent volume here yesterday, although yesterday technically a little bit of a red day, but still holding up well. And I mentioned XLF is working. It does have earnings coming up next week, so that's one kind of iffy thing to be aware of. But watch for a move above 404.43 here on GS. Maybe for just a couple of day swing trade kind of thing. Back to tech stocks really quick. NVIDIA, I did mention this one for the chart of the day, kind of watching this channel here. I won't waste your time with it in this video, but this downward sloping trend line, really want to see it get above, stay above, do it on volume. A quick note about tech resources. Dan did raise the stop on tech to 28.70. So that's around that area there. So this trade's working out really well. So nice move here on the daily. and new high here on the weekly. So I think you just want to really kind of know what your time frame is if you followed him in this trade. From a swing trade perspective, this looks a tad extended, and I'd want to stagger a few stops. From a position trade perspective, I think Dan's right on the money here with a stop rate under that 21-day exponential period moving average. Mentioned some oil and gas stocks in the forum today. Oxy was one of the ones that I was looking at, breaking out of a nice small base here. Good volume on that move here on the hourly. Yeah, just really came up to that resistance level, broke through, did it on good volume. A little extended now. Don't chase it here, but definitely keep an eye on it because it could, I think that's the next pivot is really above that 35.83 level. Also mentioned APA Corp in the forum today. This one breaking out nicely. Again, same kind of setup. Short base, break above, higher than average volume. That's the stuff we want to see. So this one's working as well. Talked about this one in the forum too. And also, a great job to everyone in the forum for their work on Zim today. Zim, finally, kind of breaking out here. This has been a choppy ride for a lot of traders. It's been one that has had trouble breaking out. This is kind of a little bit of a slingshot, pull back to support, breakout, and look at that volume. That's the kind of volume we want to see on a strong move above resistance. And here on the hourly chart, you can see, look at it needed that volume to break through. So really like that here on Zim. So nice work there. If you took this today, I'd probably want to have a stop rate under 57.90. Okay, I mentioned some financial stocks earlier. Brown & Brown, this is an insurance play. I think I mentioned this one the other day. It's just kind of tight within the 21-day exponential period moving average. You can see a little bit of that's not super clean, but just kind of a little base there. Just kind of chopping within this zone. I think you want to see it get above 68.80 and do it on volume. FNF, mentioned this one in my last video last week. And this one is breaking out nicely as well, right above that 53.28 level I mentioned. It did kind of flounder there, but finally closed above and followed through nicely today. On the weekly chart, again, zoom out, add a weekly high. This is why we want to pay attention to stocks that are near their highs because they tend to keep making new highs. So nice move here on FNF. I'm not sure if you took that trade or not. Jeff Financial, another financial stock group. Financial stock that is in a good group and above the 50-day moving average. This is really what catches my eye, the nice volume here as it moved through, this little pivot here. So keep an eye on Jeff. Again, this one looks like, actually, you know what? They have earnings tomorrow. So let's see how this plays out. Don't buy this one. Wait to see how it plays out tomorrow. I don't know if it's before the close or after the close. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below. Okay, a few more here. Some semiconductors. KLAC. Kala Corp is just kind of in a downward sloping trend line here. Breaks out of a downward sloping trend line, gets into another one. Downward sloping trend line. You want to see it get above, stay above, do it on volume. But I like the fact that it's so far finding support around that 50-day moving average. Teradyne looks the same. Downward sloping trend line, support around the 50-day. We'll see what happens with semiconductors. So far, still under the slope, so it's got to break above. Keep an eye on Marvell as well. This is one that, I misplayed this stock crazily. Like I owned this at $30, and or maybe it was 40. I don't remember. It was around this area, and I just kind of let it go. I traded out of it. I rode this up. Oh, okay, and resistance, trade out of it. And then I moved on with my life. But this stock just kept moving higher. And so, that's part of being an active trader sometimes. You're not going to get them all, and you're also going to miss a lot. And so, anyways, I like the rebound here on Marvell. I do think it's, these are really big moves now. Like, that's 11% in 2 days. That's a lot. So, ideally, this just kind of grinds sideways and builds a base. But you could watch it above 86.48 and watch for a strong move through and continuation, maybe a retest of the highs at around 91. And finally, Alcoa, our old friend, Alcoa, is firming up here. It's still above all the major moving averages. This, I mentioned, I think it was last week or the week before, really having trouble with that 63 zone. kept getting pushed back, and then finally took me out and then whipped around a bit. But it is still in a weekly uptrend. Now, they do have earnings coming up next week, but, could be one to watch for a trade. I think you want to have an alert rate around that 63 level right there, maybe just under. Watch for a move through coming on volume. So I hope that video is helpful. Hey, give me a follow on Twitter if you don't already, @ScottTrades. We'll see you tomorrow.